Welcome, everyone. We are talking about Litter Journal today in SciStarter Live, our weekly webinar series. We are going to be discussing how you can impact your environment by helping us out with plastic pollution and picking things up where you are, but also documenting that so we can do some data monitoring and really make changes in our communities based on what our unique issues are. I'm going to pass the baton over to our guest here, who is Kelly Thorvaldsen, our senior manager of conservation programs at the South Carolina Aquarium, and I'll let her do a little bit more of an introduction, which might involve turtles, and I'm very excited for that.
Thank you so much, Emma, and thank you to SciStarter for inviting us here today to talk about one of our citizen science projects, the Litter Journal. There's so many environmental issues and just environmental that there's so much we need to know about the environment. Scientists cannot do it alone. We need citizens to get involved to help, figure out nuances of environmental issues. And in this case, plastic pollution is what we're specifically looking for. So I'm just going to share my screen and hope this all works.
I'll be here with the thumbs up.
Thank you. All right, slideshow. All right, are we on the goal?
Yes.
Perfect. So the goal of the Litter Journal is to have data-driven solutions to plastic pollution, and we do that through citizen scientists tracking and removing litter from all habitats. We often say litter sweeps or picking up litter without taking data is a very short-term goal. It does not do anything towards providing or towards finding solutions to the litter issue. It really takes concrete data to understand the most problematic debris and then find solutions about those debris. We have a really robust app. We kicked it off in we actually developed it in 2016, beta tested and kicked it off in 2017. But we currently have more than 2,400 members and groups in the Litter Journal that have documented 2.4 million pieces of debris and counting. Every month we get anywhere between 55 and 75,000 debris entered into this litter tracker. So it really is a phenomenal database. Now I'm just going to take you to my home away from home, the South Carolina Aquarium in Charleston, South Carolina. We are located right on the Charleston Harbor. It's a gorgeous aquarium right in downtown. We're a regional aquarium showcasing the biodiverse habitats in South Carolina from the mountains to the sea. One of our cornerstone conservation initiatives is our Sea Turtle Care Center, where we take in sick and injured sea turtles that wash up along the coast of South Carolina and even beyond our state when that need arises. And ultimately, we rehabilitate them and release them back into the ocean to become reproductive members of the sea turtle population. I think we've released about 385 sea turtles to date, so that's really exciting. But we have seen this dramatic increase of sea turtles coming into our hospital with plastics in their GI tracts. These are just 3 patients of 43 turtles that we've treated in 22 years. And the majority of those were in the last 7 years. So, this is the same trend that we have begun to see along our waterways, beaches, and roadways. And it was just really important for us that we do more than just triage these patients that were consuming plastics in the ocean. We wanted to get beyond our walls to work on mitigation strategies. How do we keep plastic from getting there in the first place? And that's when we developed our Sea Turtle, or our Litter Journal, the very first citizen science project. But we're treating sea turtles, but it really is marine life from plankton to whales that are consuming plastics. It's larger pieces of plastic have been found in the guts of fish, but lots of even seafood products and drinking water are being found to have microplastics. And these microplastics have often absorbed, the plastic just has an absorbent quality about it. And they can absorb harmful chemicals such as heavy metals, pesticides, and toxins such as persistent organic pollutants. And these toxins will bioaccumulate up the food chain. So it's really important for wildlife and certainly for our own health that we work on this issue and truly understand that environmental health and human health are intrinsically linked. So the South Carolina Aquarium began working with Mount Desert Island Biological Laboratory and their citizen science arm, Anecdata, to develop the South Carolina Aquarium Citizen Science app. So this is available on in the App Store or Google Play. And this is our suite of citizen science projects. The Litter for I forgot to use the current one. We changed the name from Litter Free Digital Journal to Litter Journal. I apologize for that. So that was the very first citizen science project that we kicked off. And we at first began working along the coast on this issue to try to really socialize litter cleanups with data collection in coastal communities. And that made sense to us because we treat sea turtles with plastics, right? But it didn't take long for us to realize that we are truly a state all connected through this intricate web of waterways. And these are really just the main rivers that are running through our state. There's so many, there's such an intricate web of creeks and rivers that are branching off of these. And so we knew we needed to not just work along the coast, but work in inland communities because these debris travel, and there's research that says freshwater systems are poorly understood in terms of their contribution to plastic pollution and to marine plastic pollution, and so we knew we needed to do more there. We developed the Pam and D. Michael Wilson Plastic Free Waters program. And essentially, we work on community engagement, community-based citizen science. We engage large groups, small groups, individuals of all ages and backgrounds on this activity. It is as simple as litter sweeps with data collection. So these are just a few of the thousands of litter cleanups that have happened, and there's such incredible. There's such great fun and there's so much great camaraderie. And whether you're doing it with a friend or with a group of 60 people, it really is just truly a wonderful way to protect the environment. And this is that map of South Carolina. And these are the data that have been entered in South Carolina. And we really have been working across the state to socialize this activity. Each hexagon here represents anywhere from 1 to 100 litter cleanups. And I'll walk through that when we get on the web version of the project. And excitingly, it's starting to branch outside of South Carolina. We've obviously just been really doing a lot of work in our state, but we are excited to have others start to use this. It is a worldwide citizen science project. It can be used anywhere to inform solutions in your community. So we highly encourage you to give it a try. In December of 2021, the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine came out with a very important report on the U.S. role in global ocean plastic waste. A report like this had not come out before this. And so it was really important for us here in America to understand how much debris is coming from our land into our waters. And an entire chapter 6, is spent talking about the need for regular, standardized, and systematic data collection to understand the extent of plastic waste in the environment, to develop effective interventions, and evaluate progress in reducing U.S. plastic waste. So monitoring those solutions. And this was music to our ears because we had been doing this for 5 years at that time, and it really just was very confirming that our work is and our energies are in the right place. So litter data in South Carolina have been really helpful in informing many of the single-use plastic bans that have happened in South Carolina. These are kind of 5 headlines of 19 single-use plastic bans. And they were in kind of 16, 17, 18, and 19. And now we have enough data in these communities to be able to report back to our elected officials or the community officials and let them know if these bans are working. And we're happy to say, for the most part, they are. COVID really threw a big wrench in that gear, but we're getting back on track now, and it's exciting to see the progress that's being made. Litter data were also critical in passing smoking bans on 2 local area beaches. They were more challenging than even the plastic bans and would not have been possible without data. Litter data in the upstate was really important in informing the need for these litter capture devices. These are in-water water goats that are pulling a tremendous amount of debris from this really small waterway. And these are just 3 of the many clean outs that this water goat gets. And styrofoam is by far the most numerous debris found in this particular water goat and in these upstate water cleanups, which is very different than litter profiles in other communities. And so, because different communities have different litter issues, it's really critical to understand exactly what those litter issues are, because the solutions are going to look different from community to community. So these are some other kind of solutions that arose from seeing litter data and understanding how many plastic toys are being left on beaches across the coast. And these are toy bins from 2 area beaches that are consistently now getting toys added. And then kids or families that don't have toys, when they go out, they're able to take them out to the beach. And typically when they use those toys, they're really good about bringing them back. So toys are still an issue, but hopefully as these toy boxes become more prevalent in beaches across the coast and more widely known about, then hopefully those toy numbers will continue to drop. So Palmetto Pride is the state's litter organization, and an amazing organization that they're working statewide on more kind of larger, not at the community level as much as the aquarium, but certainly on litter across the state. And they have funded these spatial data tools that allows users to go in and just kind of create these shapes around data in certain areas, and then pull data just from that area, from that shape. It's really, really important. The middle photograph or screenshot is of Folly Beach, or Isle of Palms, actually. Well, there's a smoking ban on the beach of Isle of Palms, but not on the roadways. So it's really important to create a shape around the beach and extract that data and analyze it separately from the rest of the roadside data to understand if that ban is working. And if we didn't have these tools, basically would not be able to do that. So these tools have been really important. And this is just one way that we've used this tool. Beaufort County is in the southern coast of South Carolina, and they are just seeing, and have for years, just a huge amount of balloons washing up on these beaches, and particularly beaches that are uninhabited. And so they asked if we would help them analyze data from these barrier islands, and we did. And we are finding that there are lots more. 3% of total debris from Beaufort County is balloon debris, whereas it's 0.2% in Charleston County and Berkeley County, also coastal community. So really important data that they can then take to their elected officials and hope to get a balloon ban or balloon release ban in place. So how do we participate? You can participate at any time. If you're walking to your job and find litter on the street, or you take a walk in your neighborhood and pick up litter, we want you to contribute data to the litter journal. Gather your supplies, It's nice to have gloves when you're collecting these, something to put your litter in. I keep a mesh bag in my car, so it's really handy. And then you can use a smartphone with the project downloaded, or a paper data sheet, and I'll show you how to get to that paper data sheet. Choose any location with litter that you can safely access. Contribute data. Just you're putting writing down the numbers and types of debris, and including brand names when at all possible. And then taking photos is really important. It's great for data verification. If we say we picked up, 60 pounds of litter, and that equals, something like 6,000 debris items, it's nice to be able to see how much that trash is. And it's also really fun to get team photos or just your litter photos, with the litter displayed out. It's really, really cool, like that water goat picture I showed you. And then remove and then properly dispose of your litter. If something is recyclable, it's important to try to get it into the recycling, but a lot of debris that have been out for a while are too old, too dirty, broken down already to recycle. So above all, we want you to have fun, stay safe, and then give yourself a big pat on the back for being a planet hero. Now I'm going to turn it over to Emma to talk about the steps to get involved.
Awesome. Thank you. This is a slide just to explain how to participate in the SciStarter affiliate program, meaning you can get contribution credit for everything you do using the litter journal. So that's step number 1 is essentially the most basic. Of course, you need to go to the actual SciStarter page for the litter journal, which is still litter-free digital journal on here. But in this case, and once you've bookmarked that on your onto your dashboard, then you'll be able to have that connected to your account. Step 2, however, because it is a separate app, means that when you download the app, or rather you have to download the app or go to the website for Anecdata to see the actual project. So in this case, you're downloading the South Carolina Aquarium Citizen Science app, which I have on my phone. And it's really fun to see all the other projects that are there that I'm getting ready to look through myself. And it's also on Anecdata. So if you're more familiar, since a bunch of you were already on citizen science projects and have done several, you might be familiar with Anecdata. It's a pretty easy web app to use, and we'll see that later as well. Once you actually have the app or you're going onto the website, that third step is just to ensure that it actually tracks your data. So step number 3 is to connect your accounts by using the same email address as you would use on the SciStarter account. So if you used one email for SciStarter, that just means you need to make sure it's the same one for this app when you join, in order for it to track across the different the projects. So after you've done that, you'll get credit for your project. The end.
Excellent. All right. So can you see this, Emma, the map?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's a little zoomed in if you want to zoom out by 1 or, yeah, there you go. That's perfect.
Okay. So I am going to just go to, so as Emma just said, Anecdata is a host of many citizen science projects. This is their project page on their on the web. The South Carolina Aquarium does have a mobile app, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, but Anecdata also has a mobile app. And if you have that Anecdata app, you're going to be able to find Litter Journal on that Anecdata app. If you're in South Carolina, it's probably good to download the South Carolina Aquarium Citizen Science app. Otherwise, I would just look for the Anecdata mobile app. All right, so Litter Journal is here. Just going to kind of show you around the website very briefly. This is about the project. There is a printable litter form. Anytime we're doing group sweeps, it's easier to use a paper data form rather than having people download the app and try to create a login and learn a new app all within a few minutes before a litter sweep. So downloading this, it has everything on one page. People can easily put tick marks here, and then those data sheets can be gathered and put on the web all at one time. So There is a video tutorial here if you would like more information about that. Data summaries just gives you kind of a quick glimpse into the data. These are all the debris that have been entered into the litter-free digital journal. So you can see the kind of top items and down to the least found. This is the amount of debris that's being collected each month. So far, in July, we had 70,787 pieces of debris, which is really cool. Observations tab, it's really just going to list the very last observation on top, and you can scroll from there and just see if you're interested to see how other people are creating their reports. You can go and find it here. Once you click on this observation tab, observations map and data analysis, these two show up. The observation map is really cool. It takes you to an interactive map. It starts here because we do have data somewhere. There's data somewhere over, oh, here we go. Overseas. So if you zoom in, if you wanted to, let's just say, see what data was around Lake Moultrie, you could click on these hexagons to find more information about the data there. So, and again, the hexagons, the more green they are, the more observations that are listed under that. So there are probably 30 or 40 observations under this one. Data analysis, this is where you can really get to those spatial data tools and all of these filters. If you add a filter, hold on, filter data by, oh goodness, sorry, I went to the wrong. Data summaries is where you're going to get to those spatial data filters. I think.
Before we move on from that previous
yes,
chart, though, the one that has the debris type right above it, there was a question in the chat from Trevor. What is the most common type of debris that is found in these coastal areas? You stated that it really depends on the area, but are there really any that stand out? And I'm curious if we can take that first one as being the most aggressive view, even though it's all of the data or all of the data.
Yeah, I would say cigarettes are really number one almost everywhere we go. Food wrappers are typically not far behind. Depending on where we are, styrofoam is a really popular type of debris. Styrofoam food and drink containers have been banned in many coastal communities, so that's something we're monitoring very closely. And we have seen a decrease in styrofoam since those bans were put into place. Plastic bottles and bottle caps are also really popular.
Oh.
So I'm not going to get into this, you guys, very much, but if you're looking for a location filter and you choose here, this is how you can draw an area on a map, and or you can search by a state or county and a hotspot. So that's how you would get a smaller data set. So, lots of great tabs here, very informative. If we go back to the home page of Litter Journal, adding a new observation is here. If you do a litter cleanup with a group or even on your own with a paper data sheet, and you come to home to enter the data on the web, you're going to want to change the location to wherever you were, right? So you can zoom in as much as you need to get that location correct. And then you'll change your date and time if it's different. Number of participants, duration of sweep, and then the habitat description are all there, and you have to add those data in. So when you're looking for a debris type, this is your primary list. Balloons, there's only one option, but for everything else, there are more choices within this kind of main category. So if we go to plastics, that's where it really is detailed into more types of debris. Again, we've separated some of these items out to monitor the bans on, say, retail bags, because they are banned in 19 communities. So if I find a retail bag, I can select it, and then you can increase the tab here, add another entry, pick option. Once you get used to where these are, it becomes really, really easy. Plastic utensils, cups, and plates. It's always nice to have, this was a fork. It's always nice to have comments on these debris. If you're working within the mobile app, you can choose an image and you can take a photograph right then and there. Here, obviously, you would have to download an image from your library and then enter additional notes. These are really great. It's so nice to see the observations and see where it is on a map, but additional information, there are 3 of us taking a hike on this trail, and we found, these debris. It's just that additional information goes a long way. And then you would save here. And once you save, you can, it's not going to allow me to save because I haven't put a lot of this information in, but you can also edit to add more data or add photos at a later date or whatever you need, or just to make a correction if you need. So that is the online version. I'm going to now walk you briefly through the mobile version. So if you download the South Carolina Aquarium or Anecdata app, you will have to register or log in if you already have an account. You can click Find More Projects to search for any of the projects you might be looking for. This is the home page for the Litter Journal. So this is the tab that it's on now, is the information or about. The second tab is the list of observations. This is your map, and these are photographs. Add a new observation, clicking the blue button. Once you're in that observation, if you tap on the map kind of lat long area here, you can tap on that. It'll go to a map and allow you to change that location if you need to. Same with the date. You would just click on this July 31st, 2023 if you wanted to change that date. Some people create events when they have group events, and so it'll ask you if you want to join an event, and then you do just what you've done with the other number of participants, duration of sweep, and habitat description. These are all the habitat descriptions. We've tried to cover all the bases there. Again, these are the list of kind of primary categories. You click more to go into your subcategories and select. And then add another entry and do the same thing. Here's how you add a photo. You can take the photo real time, or it will give you an option of getting a photo from your photo folder, and then enter additional notes and save once you're finished observing. So this is my contact information. Thank you all for being here. I'm excited that you might join us in the Litter Journal. Please don't hesitate to call or email me if you have any questions about anything we talked about today. If you want more information about data analysis, we can work with you on that. We are happy to give tutorials and trainings. And with that, I'm gonna stop screen share and turn it back over to Emma.
That was awesome. I had a quick question before we moved on from the how to submit data. When we submit pictures, is it okay to just do a final picture of all the things, or is it beneficial to somehow have individual photos as we continue to pick up, or is there a preference?
When we're picking up sometimes 10,000 debris in a big group sweep, there's no way to take photographs of every piece of debris. It's just impossible. So that group shot is the kind of the minimal, yes, or just a group, just a picture of all the trash together, if you have 3 bags of trash or whatever. However, I like to take photographs of banned items, for instance, or brand items. If there is a retail bag from a common business that we are trying to reach out to and ask them to stop using these items because they're littering our communities, then it's important to take pictures of those, and those are helpful.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's like priority photos, the minimum
Yes,
all the way to what things are most priority in your area. That makes a lot of sense.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone asked in the chat, may have missed this, but how do you see using this breakdown of litter to affect litter sources? Oh, okay. So this is what we were just referring to. So the idea, okay, yes, partially, yeah. So if you want to elaborate more on like what you do in response to the data being broken down that way, like what the process is for your team in reaching out about changing legislation or working with businesses.
Sure. So, one of the biggest differences between the Litter Journal and other litter trackers is that the ease of access to data. When we first developed this project, no other litter trackers had open source data. If you contributed data, it went into a big black box, and only the people that kind of managed the project or app had access to that. Our entire goal is to arm communities with tools to collect data and use data. So we don't want to be the holders and users of this data ourselves. We want to empower you all to use the data. So I can tell you how we have used it. I can tell you in some cases how community members that I know have used it, but ultimately it's our gift to you to have an open access database that allows you to extract this data, analyze it, and then use it. I would say single-use plastic bans, as we mentioned, 19 of them have been passed in South Carolina. Data were a big part of those. Just understanding how many of these items are found in the natural environment. It's really shocking to everyone, including our elected officials, to businesses. We've had businesses change the way the products they're using because we or community members have approached them with information about how products with their names on it or products that are near their businesses are being found in the marine environment or in the natural environment. So, there's so many ways these data have been used and certainly can be used. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, just a follow-up too. Is there any like blanket advice that you give to people who are noticing a problem, or like your first step that you would recommend people do in general?
Get litter sweeps with data collection under your belt. That is it, without concrete numbers, you can only anecdotally talk about these issues. So if you're seeing what you think is a problem, it's time to really quantify what is happening, what percentage, and it's really important to get like information over time, not just 1 or 2 snapshots at an area. Do regular cleanups monthly in an area and see how quickly those debris show back up. Are they the same debris? Are they different? Is it a seasonal thing? If you're in an area with high tourism, how does that change in different seasons? So it's really important to kind of quantify over time what's happening, and then you have some solid information that you can have really thoughtful conversations with business leaders, elected officials, community leaders, other environmental organizations that are working in your communities. It's really important to involve them. We have these issues, and these are the data that we're finding, and we'd love your help in reaching the people that we need to talk to make change.
Right. Yeah, that is excellent advice. I love it. The data matters.
It does so much.
It looks like we have another question. Will people be able to access their local data, like Boise, Idaho, accessing their own data? Oh, is it anonymized on the in the data base?
So you would have your profile, your member profile. So all the data that you enter is in your profile. And so if you want to be anonymous, you can call yourself something that is anonymous. You can have an email that, I mean, you need an email and a password to document, to create a login. So it's essentially not anonymous. I mean, anybody can see anyone else's profile, but typically that's not a problem.
Gotcha. And then I don't think that was that was my own question I added onto theirs, I suppose, but
Okay.
their local data. So if you're looking for Boise, Idaho, on the map, it depends on, yeah, so it depends on how much is there, but you'll be able to access whatever has been put in that location from using the map and like seeing how many observations have been made in that area.
Absolutely. We could go to the map right now and zoom in and see if there were any data points made or observations made there. But as soon as you start adding debris from from where your location, those will start to show up and populate. And what's really cool too, if you those shape files that I was talking about, like putting a shape around a specific neighborhood in a community or a specific river around within a county or something like that. Once you create that shape file, you can bookmark it and save it, and any data added beyond that time will be included in that shape file. So you really have to never create that shape again, and you can just easily go to it, download the data from that shape file. It's really, really cool.
Excellent. Yeah. And that helps you with that data over time too. You can keep marking it every time that you see new data as it arrives.
Yes. And again, I'm happy, some of these, because it is such a robust app and allows you to do so much and get to data in so many different ways. It can seem like a lot when you first go to it. And we are more than happy to jump on a Zoom with you and walk through the process and, do kind of, training. The Zoom has made this really easy, right? To have conversations from, many, many states away. And so we just want to be here to help anyone that is interested in really dialing in on what capabilities the app has.
Absolutely. Excellent. I am just going to give a final call for any questions. If you are watching and have a particular instance that you'd like to ask about, feel free. Because we're waiting on that, if there are any leftovers, I just am curious how you got into this, Kelly. Like, what was your starting point? Because I know you were turtle related, and then this is it's different but related. So I'm just curious how you made your way over to this side of the aquarium.
Sure. So I managed our sea turtle care center actually for many years, about 12 years. And, I was taking care of those patients that were coming in with plastics in their GI tracts and, small, anywhere from, a 10-pound turtle to a 200-pound turtle. I mean, they were defecating, for lack of better, I mean, that's how we would find it, but they would defecate anywhere up to 110, 150 pieces of plastics. Sometimes it was, 10 or 20 pieces, but it was shocking. And so when we decided, I used to say, I'm a turtle girl. Like I love sea turtles and I will always work to protect sea turtles. But sea turtles are a great face or animal to work on some of these bigger conservation issues that are affecting a lot of other wildlife or water wildlife and wild places. So when given the opportunity to work beyond our walls on plastic pollution, sea level rise, which we are experiencing dramatically here in Charleston and on the East Coast, and sustainable seafood, I really jumped at it. These are all issues that are affecting sea turtles and ocean health. And so, yeah, it's been a blast.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Actually, I am curious,
thanks.
do you want to give a little promo or description of the other projects that are on your citizen science list? While we're here?
Sure. So let me share my screen again. All right. So sea rise is another really important project that we have to document flooding, erosion, anything that is these effects from sea level rise. So about the project. Observation. So we last night was the first night of a king tide here in Charleston. The full moon is tonight, and so the highest of the tides will be tonight. But we ask people to go in and document flooding. So this is a photograph that was taken last night at this area. So we just recently added these sea rise signs with rulers on the bottom and a QR code to the Citizen Science Project. So if they see flooding at these areas, we want that documented. And this is the first time we just added the sign here, and looks like there was not flooding, which is fantastic. Let's see. 2 nights ago, we were doing a sea rise walk with a group. This is Gadsden Creek, and this is actually a roadway where this gentleman is standing.
Whoa.
Yeah, it gets completely flooded all the way across. So this is some of our team walking down this street that gets completely flooded. So it's
Wow.
but we're actually looking for erosion, beach erosion. Tree die off is another thing that we're seeing. So it looks like 4.5 inches by the South Carolina Aquarium. This is a parking garage for the aquarium. So observation map, let's see. It's mostly along the coast of South Carolina, but data can be added from anywhere. If you're experiencing sea level rise or flooding, not just from sea level rise, but from more intense storms that I think we're all experiencing, it's really important that we document that. So another project is a Good Catch seafood survey. And that is just trying to document where we find local seafood, so we can partner with them on our Good Catch program and really just get out to the general public where local seafood is being served or sold.
Gotcha. So that's like, if you are eating local seafood, that's when you would take an observation?
Yes, we encourage for folks to ask before they order, find out. And even if you don't order it, if you find something that's local, we want to hear about it. And it is kind of specific to South Carolina, just because it's a Good Catch is our program, and we're working to support our seafood industry that is highly regulated and doing better than the seafood industry in many other oceans. So yes, we're really encouraging folks to seek out local here.
That's so interesting. I mean, that's super. It's great as like a program that could be mirrored in other places too. So even if it is specific to South Carolina at this time, it's a good one to be able to copy elsewhere, I think. So
absolutely. If you live on a coast anywhere, you can also, you can work with Anecdata on developing a project like this. Anecdata is such a great host site for citizen science projects.
Absolutely. I'm even thinking, like, I live in Arizona, and there's a place kind of near me that's supposedly it's named after the boat where they get all their fish in Mexico and bring it up. And so I'm thinking through, do they get all of their seafood from that specific location, or do they do any other form of imports. It's interesting. This has all been wonderful. If there are any more questions, I think we can close out early, and I can go ahead and go through the ending, close out. That's the word I'm looking for. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the next couple of minutes while I go through those things. Any takers? Excuse me. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again so that you can see our closing out slides. If you do have any questions that come up after this is over, especially since, like, I'm even thinking of the litter cleanups I've been a part of, like reaching out to them and seeing if they do things like this and discover how we can make these things better and actually build data instead of just simply picking things up, right? So if you do have any thoughts or want to bring anything up later, feel free to reach out to SciStarter or to Kelly through her contact info, which I will show one more time for you. This is the email and phone number that you can reach her at. I'll leave it for 5. You'll get these slides too if you registered, so don't worry if you don't have time to write it down too. Awesome. All right. Now, just before we close out, I did want to let you know about the upcoming events that are happening for the rest of August. Happy August, by the way. Next week on August 8th, we're talking more about pollution, except this time we're talking about land pollution through Land Pollution Lookout. It's about oil spills in the Niger Delta. Sorry, words. So if you are interested in learning about how you can impact a community that is trying to identify where those oil spills are happening, you can join us for that as well. It's a really easy project to do online when you're bored. So please join us. On August 15th, we're talking about Cedar Creek, which is an instant wild project. So it's another one where you're online and looking at images to see what animals are out there, and including some wolf type animals, because we're looking forward to August 26th, which is Dog Day, National Dog Day. And so in honor of that, we'll be talking about Dog Day on August 22nd as well. And then we close out the month with some talk about mosquitoes. I don't know about you all, but in Arizona, we have mosquitoes that we call, I think they are, I'm not even sure if they're mosquitoes. I think they are, but they're called no-see-ums. So they bother me a lot. I'm looking forward to learning if I can include them in the mosquito, globe mosquito project that we'll be talking about on the 29th. And if you need any updates, we have our blog site that you can go to that's all about SciStarter Live, and it's pinned, so you'll be able to find it on our blog at any point, even if you don't have that link. Okay. And then the last thing I'll say about new events coming up, we do have our Do NASA Science Live program with NASA as our partner, where we're talking about NASA specific projects. The next one coming up is on Tuesday, September 19th. So that'll take the place of this event. So you won't see us on the 19th for the regular 2 p.m. time. Instead, you'll see us at 7 p.m. Eastern time anyway, and we'll be talking about the eclipses. So if you are interested in knowing what on earth an eclipse is and what you can do about research during that time, please feel free to join us. You can use that QR code to register as well, or you can go to that link. Yeah, those are all those things. Lots of events coming up. We're trying to make sure you are never bored, I promise. And then lastly, we do have a ton of resources, so you can email Kelly about anything related to Litter Journal, but you can also access contact through SciStarter. So if for any reason you need to find out through SciStarter, you can go and ask the project leaders on the specific project page. You can ask the community, you can email us, and we'll connect you. And we have many other projects and many other trainings and podcast episodes for you to listen to. Even if you want to just watch a bunch of SciStarter Live on repeat, you can go to our YouTube. So lots of things to share with you, and I will leave it at that. And I hope to see you on Tuesday of next week to talk about Land Pollution Lookout. If you are able to and willing, please answer our survey. It'll take you like 2 minutes so that we can know how we're doing. And if you want to share anything about what you'd like to see next, we'd love to hear it too. So and I'll let you all have the rest of your 5 minutes of the hour back, unless there's anything, any questions that need to be shared. Otherwise, I will end our stream. Sound good? All right. Thank you so much, Kelly, for being here. It was an honor to be able to talk about these things. I look forward to the next ones we do for the other projects and whatnot. So we will see you back here eventually, soon.
Yes, love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thanks so much. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end our stream. So goodbye, Facebook. And goodbye to the recording.